welcome back to Best Life and Beyond. Today, I am going to give you my top 10 Trader Joe's items for spring. So even though it's technically still winter here in Southern California, it's starting to feel more like spring. We're getting, the weather's getting a little bit warm. It's starting to just act like spring in California. We're getting like a little bit of rain. Sometimes, some days, honestly, it's like, 60 degrees and kind of rainy and gloomy and drizzly. And then, some days are like, 70 degrees and sunny. So some of these items that I've pulled together, they work for when it's like nice and cold and rainy outside. And then some things are for, when it's nice and warm and sunny and nice and happy. I also kind of chose things that are a little bit healthier and good for you. So these are like my top 10 items, and they're also like staples that I will buy repeatedly during the springtime. So I obviously have a lot to talk about, so I'm gonna get started and not make this video drag on and on and on. Starting off my list, number one staple that I will always keep in the pantry is the Trader Joe's vegetable broth, beef broth, chicken broth, bone broth. These items, I put them all in one group because if I was to list all of the broths, I think that would be about like 6. So I want you guys to know how delicious these are. They're pretty low calorie and they are a staple. Why would you choose broth, Katie, when it's springtime? Well, let me tell you, because sometimes we get a spring shower and it just puts you right in the mood for soup. So these are something that I always have. I love the beef broth. I think that's probably my favorite. The hearty vegetable broth is a second favorite. The chicken broth is really good, but if I'm gonna get a chicken broth, I prefer to get the bone broth. And the good part about the bone broth is it's really healthy. It's good for you. Sometimes when I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, I will just get the chicken bone broth, and I just put it in a microwavable mug and microwave it for, about a minute. And it just like soothes your throat, makes you feel good. And it's also really filling. And because it's spring, you're gonna be in your bathing suit more. So one of the healthier things you can do for yourself that we do often is we have soup. And the soup we like to make a lot is vegetable soup. So it's so simple. You put in whatever vegetables you like and then use one of those broths, and it's like the best thing you can get. We especially like to use the beef broth if we're gonna make a vegetable soup. And we also like to use the beef broth as well whenever I make that risoni and vegetable dish, which is something else that's really healthy for you. All right, this next item is all year round, but again, kind of going into, like I said, you're gonna be in your bathing suit a lot more, so you wanna be really nice and healthy. I always grab at least 2 packages of Power to the Greens. This is just an absolute staple. It's delicious. I put Power to the Greens in everything I make just about. If I'm making salmon, I put roasted vegetables on top of the greens. If I'm making a soup, I chop them up and I put it in the soup. If I'm making a pasta dish, I will also chop them up and put them in the pasta sauce dish. If you've seen any of my recipes here on the channel, that's where you'll see 9 times out of 10, I'm either throwing just chopped up kale or I'm putting the Power to the Greens in there. And the best part about the greens is it has, I think it's got like 3 or 4 different types of greens in there. So it's a mix. It tastes delicious even just on its own as a salad. Sometimes we even take broccolini, we saute it with some salt and pepper, then throw some of the, a couple handfuls of Power to the Greens on there with some garlic, and then a squeeze of lemon. Delicious. So definitely, if you're going to Trader Joe's this spring, or any time for that matter, Power to the Greens is number 2 on the list. And as you heard me mention when I was talking about the broths, there is a box of risoni. This is number 3 on the list. It is fantastic. It's pretty new to Trader Joe's, and this is definitely a spring staple. It is a legume-based grain alternative. That is honestly a huge tongue twister to me for some reason. So it's made of red lentils and chickpeas. It's higher in protein, lower in calories, and it is absolutely delicious. It is so good with the beef broth. Instead of doing what they recommend on the back by using water in it, I highly recommend to use the beef broth, especially the Trader Joe's beef broth. It's just perfect. I have a recipe on here on the channel, so if you want to see how we like to make it, I definitely recommend checking that out, and I'll link it in the description box right below. But definitely something to check out and something good to have on your list. Remember, it's lower calorie, and you'll definitely need that in the spring, and it's also very light and fresh. I would actually put this over some Power to the Greens, and I think I might next time I make it.
Katie, risotto is not just a rice replacement.
What?
It's remarkable.
It's remarkable. All right, number 5 on the list is going to be the chicken sausage. Like I said, I'm trying not to eat too much meat anymore, but if we are going to have meat, one of the staples for springtime, actually, this is almost an all year round staple as well, but it is the sun-dried tomato chicken sausage. These are already fully cooked, which I like a lot. They have a lot of like clean ingredients, like stuff you can actually like pronounce and say. The flavor is just fantastic. We love to chop these up and roast them on a pan with vegetables, so it's nice and light and healthy and full of flavor. These are also good if you just want to like grill or saute them. We've done that before. You can find them in the refrigerated section on the very top shelf in most Trader Joe's, on top of all the meat. So I highly recommend checking those out. They're also really low on Weight Watchers points if you're into watching that. So yeah, these are really delicious and definitely deserve a spot on the top 10 list. And of course, I needed to put something sweet on the list. A dessert item that I tend to get a lot during the springtime is the Hold the Cones. The reason I chose these, there's actually several reasons I chose these for my top 10. But these little cones are delicious because you could get them in either vanilla or chocolate. It's actually real, natural ice cream. It's not some processed junk. Yes, it does have sugar, fat, and calories, but it's the best kind of sugar, fat, and calories. If you are on Weight Watchers, these come in at about 4 points, especially if you're on the green plan. I love to get the chocolate ones. Those are my favorites. I'm a chocoholic, and when you're craving something sweet, these are just enough. I feel like when you finish a cone for some reason, there's something so satisfying about that. And even though it's a tiny little cone, it's about the size of your palm, it still gives me that satisfying feeling like I ate an entire ice cream cone. And then if I happen to eat 2 of them, you know, I don't feel as terrible. Number 6 on my list is the frozen Trader Joe's cauliflower rice. I admit for a very long time, I was not really digging it. But I think after all this time, I finally found ways to use this and like it, and it is now become a staple in the house. I love that I could keep it in the freezer so I don't have to worry about it spoiling. That is just great for me. Anytime I can keep something like as a staple in the pantry or the freezer, I am all for it. This is so good to throw over Power to the Greens. You could just roast a bunch of vegetables. You can saute a bunch of vegetables. Heck, you could even saute the chicken sausage. We could make a meal out of my top 10 favorite items that I listed, minus the Hold the Cone. Mix it all together, and it's fantastic. The cauliflower rice is so easy. All you need to do is season it with a little bit of, lemon pepper, some garlic, and it's just great. It's so delicious. It's so versatile. You really can do a lot with it. It's good in stir fries. Another thing that I've done with the cauliflower rice is I've made a soup, and instead of, for a chicken rice soup, instead of the rice, I've used cauliflower to kind of cut back on all the calories and carbohydrates. I recommend getting it yourself and experimenting with it, see what you can come up with. I know I had fun when I finally gave in and I was like, okay, cauliflower rice, we're gonna make something good. So try it, let me know what you think, but it's definitely a staple on my springtime list. This next item is number 7 on the list, and I put it at number 7 because it takes me to heaven. It is just that good. This is something that I found, I think it was like a couple years ago, and I am addicted to these. Now, the other thing is they sell out a lot, but it is the Trader Joe's organic pizza crust. These crusts are fantastic. They are so easy to just pop out of the freezer Preheat your oven to I think about 420 degrees. You can put any sauce on it. You can make this, customize it. We have this at least like once a week, especially in the springtime. We love to just have a really quick go-to meal, and just sometimes we don't even use pizza sauce or marinara sauce. We've just brushed it with some olive oil, put on a little bit of garlic, and caramelize some onions, throw some arugula on, boom, you're done. You can make 2 different kinds of pizzas. That's another fun thing to do, and just kind of experiment. These pizza crusts are great. They're also not so bad for you. If you are watching Weight Watchers, they are about 4 points for 1/4 of the pizza, minus the topping. These pizza crusts are just so delicious. I highly recommend you giving them a try and putting them on your list for your springtime Trader Joe's trip. This next item is number 8 on the list, and it is fantastic. One of my favorite things I keep. I wish that this was like something that was frozen or could keep in the pantry, because I love to get it that often. It is the Trader Joe's Peanut and Crispy Noodle Salad Kit. Oh my goodness, this is so good. I was a little bit afraid of it at first. I thought that the dressing was going to be all spicy or just overpowering, but no, I was wrong. Oh my goodness, it's so good. You could omit the peanuts and even the little crispy noodles if you wanted, and it's still good. For some reason, this dressing is just delicious. I love that you literally buy the bag, mix it up, and you have the best salad ever. We've both split it, or I've just taken it for myself. You can add some chicken. You can add more vegetables to it. It makes a great lunch. It makes a great dinner. There's multiple times I've come home from Disneyland just starving, and I will run into Trader Joe's right before they close, grab myself one of these salad kits, and go. I've tried a few other salad kits, but for some reason, this one is just a winner. Maybe it's just my taste preference, but again, in the springtime, you want to be eating like lighter and more fresh, and this is something that it checks all the boxes. It's just that good. So give it a try next time you're at Trader Joe's. Okay, number 9 on the list is probably my favorite on all the list. None of these are in particular order, but if I was to order what I liked best on, the list, this would be number 1. This is the coconut whipped topping. It's basically like a can of Cool Whip or a can of Ready Whip, but it's coconut. So first of all, I love that it's dairy free. Second of all, it has this coconut flavor to it. If you're a coconut fan, oh my goodness, you will love this. My favorite thing to do with this is to put it over some frozen berries, the fancy mix that I get in the freezer section at Trader Joe's. I stick those in the microwave for about a minute so that they're just they're still cold, but they're nice and kind of a little bit slushy almost. It sounds kind of weird. Sometimes I've even actually heated them up so they're warm. And then I just go to town with this coconut whip topping. It's low in Weight Watchers points. It's not overly sweet, and it is so satisfying. Oh my goodness. If I could rave about a product more, it would be this. I've used this coconut whip topping on Fiber One brownies. I've used it on my Halo Top ice cream. I can't even list all the things I've stuck it on, but I can't say enough how much you need to try this whip topping, especially if you're a coconut fan and you just need a little something extra. Give it a try and let me know what you think. Okay, we're already at number 10, and number 10 on my list is the Reduced Guilt Macaroni and Cheese. Like I said before, I love having something that I could just pull out of the freezer and enjoy for lunch or dinner and not feel crazy guilty about it. This mac and cheese, I feel like this is good for several reasons. You can add chicken, you can add that sausage to it. You can just do so much, and it's just a nice little serving. You pull it out. Oh my goodness. And it's ready in 4 or 5 minutes, and you got the best. It tastes like homemade mac and cheese, and the fact that it's reduced fat, I actually think if I was to compare it to the whole fat version in the red box, I think it is, I still prefer the reduced fat version. I don't know what it is, but I just think it tastes so good. It's still creamy. I think the noodles are just perfect too. I'm very picky about noodles. I've had, you know, a couple of lean cuisines and other things that, you know, the noodles are just kind of like, they're either too hard or they're kind of mushy, but for some reason, this has never disappointed me. The reduced guilt, Trader Joe's, mac and cheese. And the best part about it is it's only 8 Weight Watchers points for the green plan. So that makes it even better on top of the fact that it tastes delicious. All right, these next couple of items, they didn't make the list, but they are, I guess we're going to call them our honorable mentions. These are things that I would still get. I don't get them every time I go. Number 1, we are starting off with everything but the bagel seasoning. This bagel seasoning is great. It's low calorie. It adds a lot of flavor to dishes. It's been around for quite some time. It's got quite a cult following. It's so good on hard-boiled eggs. I mean, I put this over like a cucumber and tomato and onion salad with some balsamic white vinegar. And this next item is the unsweetened green tea. Now, the reason this isn't top on my list is because very few people enjoy it as much as me. It's so good. It's so healthy for you. It has 0 calories, 0 sugar, but it's kind of an acquired taste. If you're not a big fan of unsweetened green tea, it's kind of hard to get used to, but I like to get it because it's so refreshing and hydrating when it's cold. It's so good for you. Green tea is good for your metabolism. It's good for your skin. It's good for everything. So I just get a can of it and I just drink it all the time if I can, but I just didn't want to put it on my top list and, you know, go crazy recommending something. And then you guys have messaged me before and you're like, this doesn't taste good. And I'm like, I mean, so fair warning, it's not the best taste. You can even heat this up and have like a nice hot green tea just in case you get a little spring rain shower. All right, and these meatless meatballs have made my honorable mention list. And the reason these aren't on the top part of my list is because I've only used them for a short amount of time. So I don't want to go crazy raving about them, but I will say we have just put them in some marinara sauce, our favorite sauce, and heated it up and just put some Parmesan cheese on them and just kind of ate them as an hors d'oeuvre. And they were delicious. I was kind of inspired to get these after going to the DCA Food and Wine Festival. There was a meatless meatball sub, and oh my goodness, I think about it all the time. It was just that good. So I think these are something I'm going to be toying with more in spring and like try and find ways to use these, mixing some sauces and things with them to see what works best. But for right now, they're going to be an honorable mention because I love them a lot and I feel like they have a lot of potential. All right, well, that wraps up my top 10 Trader Joe's items for springtime. Hope you guys can get a chance to go there and try some of these out. These are things that, like I said, in the springtime, I will be repeatedly buying and keeping in my pantry, freezer, and refrigerator. If you liked this video, let me know. If you want to see more, let me know by giving this video a thumbs up and actually leaving a comment of what you thought below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We love having you here. If you want to become one of our Patreon members, I'll link all that information on how to do so in the description box below.
You got to give a proper farewell. You definitely do.
I know, and I can't really do it when you're not with me.
They deserve that. At the
They
very
really
least,
do.
they
At the
deserve
very
that.
least.
Even though it was a great video.
I mean, you
I
don't know
enjoyed
it was good yet. You don't know.
I was
You
here
heard
for
me.
it. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Really?
I was being quiet in the background, like tiptoeing around. Yeah,
You
so.
were sneezing at one point, though.
Well,
I do want to call you out on that. So yeah, they deserve that. Do you think you can do that for me?
yeah, we'll see you next time on Best Life and Beyond. Bye-bye, everybody!
The legume, wait, it's legume?
It's a legume.
Trader Joe's peanut and crispy. If you are on Weight Watchers, these are, if you are on bleh. So even though it's technically still spring here in California, you know, so what it is, the Trader Joe's peanut, you know, we can make a, it's number, I love that I can't think of how to say it.
I'm just admiring my own art. Like, yeah, it's great.
you just
I'm here to get my headshots done. Is this where I come?
Yeah, this is it. Oh wow, so debonair.
I can
so
also be a
hot.
little I can play street.
Oh wow, look at you. Dang.
You know, kinda,
Thunder Mountain?
kind of jock sports.
I was going to say that's a Thunder Mountain pose.
Well, yeah.
Because we got to do the...
Just, the different shades that I can provide.